And we
Ooh.
are live. Greetings and salutations, Focus Up family. Welcome to the December 23, 2023 installment of the Focus Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, or catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focus Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, nice as in the word Saint spelled backwards. And my co-host today are the lovely First Lady J. We got Brother Floyd X, the boss, and all these things. We're going to have Brother Dante Burks, a longtime Focus Up contributor, speaking. We got the infamous, the producer, El Pooh, star of Spin That Back. And then we have Brother Charles X. What's going on with your First Lady?
What's going on? Well, I have an abscess going on this morning, so my face is swollen and sore, but I'm still here with you fellas. I didn't let you guys down today.
We appreciate you always being the trooper about that. What's going on with you, Brother Floyd X?
I'm doing good, brother. Just my computer freezing up a little bit, so if y'all hear me say Jesus take the wheel, that means I need you the El Pooh to take over the control.
If you say that, I'm falling on my chair.
El Pooh, what it do?
Yes, sir. Blessed and happy to be here once again. But bro, you better say Yahshua.
That's take the wheel.
That's right. He's representing. Brother Charles X, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, brothers, for the invite. It's an honor to be among you, brothers, and I'm excited about participating in the dialogue.
Hey, let me just do an introduction for Mr. Brother Charles X. I knew this brother for a very long time. We both was members of the Nation of Islam. I'm not sure where he stands at with it right now, but that was a brother I met in the Nation of Islam, a good, strong brother. Let's give him a warm welcome to Mr. Charles X. All right.
Thank you, brother.
Right. Yes, sir. Welcome to the show, brother.
And we forgive you for that Raiders cap.
Yeah, so
all right, and we got Brother Dante. We're still working out the technological difficulties with this brother, but yes, let's get on with the get. What you got in the news with us, First Lady? You got that ready?
Yes, sir.
First up, Pope Francis.
Pope Francis. In March 2021, the Vatican released a statement banning the blessings of same-sex couples. Part of the rationale given was that same-sex intimacy is not consistent with God's plans for human relationships, which are ordered toward the creation and nurturing of human life. God said the statement does not and cannot bless sin. Less than 3 years later, a blink of an eye in Vatican time, church officials have reversed course in the declaration of the pastoral meaning of blessings. Released on Monday, the Vatican's dicastery for the doctrine of the faith takes on an entirely different approach to questions about whether non-marital relationships, and particularly those between people of the same sex, can be blessed by the Catholic priest. The answer is yes. With some significant conditions, the blessings cannot be given in the context of liturgy. Priests cannot wear vestments or use gestures that are associated with sacramental marriages, and the blessings cannot be offered in conjunction with a civil union or legal marriage ceremony. They should not become a liturgical or semi-liturgical act, the declaration states.
So my take on this is, first of all, we know there's a lot of pomp and circumstance with a lot of this religious stuff, and particularly the Catholic faith that is sort of brought in a whole bunch of extracurricular stuff, stuff outside of the Bible. But the thing about giving somebody a blessing, it really shouldn't be a matter of you co-signing on how they live or whatever. I remember Jesus had some quote, something to the effect about, the sickness, the people that are sick are the ones that need the help, not the doctors. So the bottom line is none of that should even be an issue about giving somebody your blessing and wishing some type of good on them. So, I mean, I guess it's good that they came around at least to that part. But, again, it's not a cosign of what you do. You don't cosign on a person that's poor and struggling for their state. Is you're what you're doing is giving them a blessing and hoping them they'll be better. But, what you got to say about that, Brother Floyd X?
Hey, all I got to say about it, I guess that since they are blessing same-sex marriages, now the priests can get married now.
Ouch. I don't know if they were actually blessing those marriages as much as blessing those people, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got something to say about that, El Poo?
Yeah. Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. That's all I got to say.
Okay, brother dropping the quote. You got anything to say about that, Brother Charles X?
Yes, sir. The main thing I would say is that, we've seen this push in general, for, acceptance for, this particular agenda. And of course, it's being promoted real heavily here in the United States. And even these policies are being pushed abroad. The reason why I believe the Catholics themselves decided to go this route is, of course, they've been in the news a lot for a lot of the abuse that was taking place on young men and young women inside their congregation, which they have lawsuits that are going on now. So it seems to be more like a PR stunt more than anything for them. There's an old saying in the church that stated, "Come as you are, but don't leave the same when you go." So you can't change the scripture, of what is promoted, in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So for a lot of the the people in that LGBT plus community, they're already saying that this is not going far enough for them. They want the literally scripture to be changed. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be mixed results, for them. But I understand why the Catholic Church in particular did this, because they've been in the news for all the wrong reasons. And so from a PR standpoint, this seems to be something that they're going to go ahead and adopt, and at least have someone saying, in terms of mainstream media, saying something good about them.
I want to comment on something. You brought up a great point about them acting like they if we talk about a forced agenda, I always accepted the whole tolerance thing. But what I really never was okay with sort of like, I hate to use the term replacement, because now, white people have taken that to a whole another different place. But when you talk about wanting to rewrite the scriptures, and that is sort of like an egregious extra forcing of I mean, that type of compliance that does sort of like undermine the. I don't want to seem hostile. I'm just saying that, they got to understand that it's one thing for us to say that you're a grown up and that's your grown up business, and we're going to support you. We're going to support the fact that you're a human being and you should have all the basic rights. But you don't get the rights to determine what is normal or what is right, or what, how our religion functions, or any of that stuff. There's got to be a difference. So you got to have a separation of saying that, look, it's okay to be different, and we're not going to just homogenize our faith and our belief to fix up with yours. So that is kind of an issue that I take with that community. But again, tolerance, I'm all for that.
Let's I thought the brother was back, but
he's not. You just didn't add him. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Hold on. Wait, yeah. Might have. Yeah. We're having some technical difficulties with Brother Dante Burks, but hopefully we'll get that all together square, particularly for the Jonathan Majors topic. But anybody else have anything else to say about this? All right, moving on to the next one. We're going to talk about Trump being removed from the Colorado ballot. What you got for us there, First Lady?
Trump ineligible. The Colorado Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that former President Donald Trump is disqualified from holding the presidency under the Constitution's so-called insurrection clause, and ordered the Secretary of State to exclude his name from the state's Republican presidential primary ballot. The landmark decision from the divided Colorado Supreme Court that Trump cannot hold public office under the Civil War era provision is unprecedented, and it marks the first time a court has found him to be ineligible to return to the White House due to his conduct surrounding the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Never before has a court determined that a presidential candidate is disqualified under the clause section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Now, check this out. I'm one of those people saying that, look, I don't want you to take him off the ballot. You know, hopefully he loses on the merits, and, you know, and hopefully he accepts it, which he didn't accept the last time. But let's not pretend like this dude didn't actually launch a real insurrection. I mean, you know, if that had been Black Lives Matter storming the Capitol, or that would have been Obama, you know, telling people to crash the Capitol and all that stuff out, this whole situation would be interpreted differently. You know, live as it happened, pretty much everybody was condemning it. And now, you know, after the fact, a lot of the Republicans have got amnesia about what actually happened. I mean, you're talking about the House Speaker trying to blur video of the insurrection because he doesn't want those people to catch cases. I mean, that's ridiculous. You're covering for these people, and they were literally fighting the police to get in there, breaking into an area that they weren't supposed to be, and people actually died from this. And yet you got your boy Trump saying that the person that was defending a cop was a thug for shooting an invader. Anyways, that's what I got to say about this. You got something? What you got to say about this, Mr. FloodX?
Man, you know, I'm just really I'm tired of Trump. I'm sitting here waiting for El Poo to hit that sound for the Donald Trump. You know, truthfully, I really want to hear Brother Charles X perspective on this right now.
There we go. What you got to say about this, Brother Charles X?
Yes, sir. So my opinion oftentimes in our community is pretty unpopular because although I have abstained from voting for a president since the second term of Obama, I was not satisfied. I voted for him on the first term, was not satisfied with his accomplishments and the direction he was leading the nation at all. So I did not vote for him the second time. When the election came up with Hillary Clinton and Trump, at the end of the day, you know, I definitely was, you know, anti-Trump, but I was also anti-Hillary at that time. So I abstained in that election. In the second, this re-election for Trump, that last term, between him and Biden, I thought it was crystal clear that, you know, in terms of if I were going to vote, I was going to go ahead and vote for Trump because I did not like the Democrat policies at all, not only for the nation, but even from the perspective of morality, geopolitics. You know, I thought that everything that they were promoting was not in the best interest for the country at all. You know, so now we're coming to where we're at now with this insurrection, you know, situation and Trump being removed for the ballot. You know, first of all, with me, I'm not about emotions. I'm about just dealing with the facts. And the facts are, you know, that there has been no one, period, in the country at all that has been charged with insurrection. Now, I'm looking at the Department of Justice right now, the United States Attorney Office in D.C., looking at all the criminal charges that's been filed, and I see assault, resisting, impeding officers or employees. That's a charge. I see entering or remaining in a restricted federal building or grounds. I see charged with destruction of government property. I see a charge with corruptly obstructing, influencing, impeding an official proceeding. I see a conspiracy to obstruct congressional proceedings, conspiracy to obstruct law enforcement during a civil disorder. But what you don't see are any charges of insurrection at all. So how can someone be removed from a ballot, you know, for insurrection when literally not only has he not been charged with insurrection, you know, let alone convicted, but also there hasn't been a person in the country that's been charged with insurrection. Now, the other thing also that I found very interesting is that there have been numerous videos that's been released, since what was released in mainstream media years ago, and then what we were seeing was, and what we know for a fact now is that there were many government officials, FBI agents in the crowd masquerading as so-called, insurrectionists or people that were there, who were upset about the vote, about what was taking place and whatnot, and it's just a lot of confusion around that issue, mainly because we're not getting, we're not getting the real news from the mainstream media. And in order for us to really, get an understanding of what really was taking place that day, you have to go more on blogs, more independent journalism or whatnot, and so
hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. I got
yes,
you. So I'm about to give Dante Burks the floor to respond to that, but let me just say that I've heard that conspiracy theory, and I get that. It's not as black and white as presented, as far as the FBI people out there whispering in the ears of the people. I mean, the fact of the matter is, even if someone's encouraging you to do something, when you do something, it's an issue. But when you talk about insurrection, you said that there's no charge of insurrection. I would say, look at the definition of insurrection. That whole list of things that you did, those are all basically testaments and attributes of insurrection. But let me pass this on to brother Dante Burke. So Dante Burke, welcome to the brother.
What is important to remember in this situation is that in the first case at the district court level, the judge agreed that Donald Trump led an insurrection, and he did not find that he was eligible to be removed. Both Donald Trump and the petitioners of the case appealed the ruling to the appeals court. Donald Trump appealed because the judge at the district court level agreed that he did lead and participate and aid in an insurrection. That's the part that makes him ineligible, because the 14th Amendment and the third clause doesn't say that you have to be convicted of insurrection. It says that you have to participate or give aid to an insurrection. And that goes all the way back to the union members of Congress not wanting any of the Southern Civil War, the Southerners to be in office to be able to lead another rebellion against the United States. So he doesn't have to be convicted, right? He doesn't have to be convicted. He just had to be a part of an insurrection or give aid and comfort to those who did an insurrection. And the judge at the district court level agreed with the petitioners that Donald Trump did give aid and lead an insurrection.
And let me be very clear about what the insurrection actually was. This was a situation where the people voted and it came to a decision. It's supposed to be a democracy, and he particularly went there to disrupt that vote. He went to override that vote. I mean, this is not supposed to be a dictatorship. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all patriotic and all, red, white, and blue, other stuff. My politics are very against a lot of that type of stuff. But I'm saying that if this is supposed to be the democracy, this is supposed to be functioning at the voices of the people, this is a person that absolutely fought that process. He absolutely purposely disrupted that process and then basically sat back and enjoyed it while people actually died because of his influence. So again, that's where I'd be coming from. We could talk about, Republican and Democratic policies. Again, I'm neither one of them, so I'm not, that's not, I don't care about any of that stuff. But again, that's kind of the situation when we talk about the insurrection. But I don't know how long we want to devote to this in the news item. I'll defer this to Mr. Floyd X if you feel.
Let's
keep this going.
Let's get Mr. El Poop take on it real quick.
There you go.
I got one thing to say. If he gets elected again, will he leave office at the next 4 years? Think about it.
Well, if the judge rules that he was in his right to do what it was that he did, then if the Supreme Court rules that way, Joe Biden doesn't have to leave office.
Good point.
All right.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like I said, the Trump nor anyone else has not been convicted of any type of insurrection, and you obviously you have the country divided on the issue. So maybe half the country, maybe it's half, will agree with you in saying that this was an insurrection, but there is at least the other half of the population that would call it a not insurrection at all, and that a lot of this was being just hyped up,
I'm gonna jump in right quick, and I'm gonna let you finish because you made a great point. A lot of this is a function that one side is going to take one position and one side is going to take another position. But I do need to correct you on something. You keep saying that he has not been convicted of committing of insurrection, but the fact is he has been judicially determined to have committed an insurrection. The judges have actually determined this. The question is whether this is worthy enough to take him off the ballot. And Colorado actually felt like, well, this did apply to him. So he actually has been found in the court of law to have been guilty of an insurrection. So
and
that's
the U.S. Supreme Court is not going to hear this case either. So
not now.
I think they are.
They just made a ruling on that.
Yeah, I think they are. What people are forgetting about the Republican Party is, in general, the elected officials do not like Donald Trump. The Republicans do not like him. He's bad for business. However, because he has the heart and soul of the majority of their voting bloc in public, they ride with him. So the Supreme Court would be the way for the Republicans to get rid of their Donald Trump problem without the politicians having to say anything negative against him. And if they were to do that, then the Republicans could complain all day long about how Donald Trump got screwed over by the Supreme Court and that he put 3 justices on the Supreme Court. But it would get rid of their Donald Trump problem because he loses more elections for them than he's won.
But I
chime in on that because go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's
I just
want to give you back the floor,
just mainly because when it comes to that particular electorate block, I'm very well educated and with them. Not that I'm I don't label myself a Republican nor a conservative, but I definitely am what you would call right of center. And you're right. The brother is right when they say that the Republicans, if you will, don't like him, but it's the Republican mainstream elected officials, which many of the Republican base are saying is not representing not only their interests, but the best interests of America. The majority of the people who vote and who are supporting Trump, which is obviously the majority of the Republican Party, are saying that these other so-called Republicans, again, are mainstream and are more focused on sending this country to war and supporting other countries financially, with various agendas and whatnot, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be Israel. And the people are saying that, look, for the most part, in particular, as it relates to Ukraine, is that we need an American first policy where we're taking these funds, in our energy and effort and lifting up this country instead of sending all these resources to the tune of $100 billion out. So again, the Republicans mainstream, they can't stand Donald Trump because Donald Trump is actually anti that. He is more about keeping those funds here, focusing on strengthening America, bringing businesses back to America, strengthening our economy. And he knows, as well as what most of us should know, is that what's taking place right now inside the world, in particular with Israel and Ukraine, is weakening our economy. And when you destroy this economy, then all of us are going to have problems. You see what I'm saying? And so there's a disconnect between, again, Republican voters, those who are supporting Donald Trump, and mainstream Republicans, whether it be Nikki Haley, who again is pro-war. I got to remind us is that when Trump was in office, he was the first American president in 39 years that did not commit us to any new foreign, invasion or any sort of war at all, in 39 years. That's significant, and even when you start looking at those who support him, that in the media, like a Tucker Carlson, before he was let go of Fox, which has been known as a major Republican voice, he got kicked out of Fox mainly because he was and is the only anti-war voice that was even in mainstream media. You see what I'm saying?
Hold on. I can't let you get away with that.
We're anti-war, but now it's crazy.
Well, hold on a second, brother Charles X. I want to say that 80% of what you said was amazing, and I want to give you a horn, particularly for that comment that you said right of center. I'm going to relabel what I associate with, because I would say that I'm a person that I say identify more with being conservative, but I like that right of center. But when you talk once you started kind of really super praising Trump, and there again, I'm a person that's going to tell you that Trump did good things. He did some bad things, and that's the way the human beings are. No one's all bad. But when you talk about Tucker Carlson got fired because he was messing with their money. They had that big suit with Dominion, and he's sitting there promoting this lie about Dominion and all this other stuff. This is costing them money. So let's not be confused. Let's not try to make Tucker Carlson out to this hero that he's absolutely not. Because this dude has been a master of the conspiracy, speaking out of both sides of his mouth. What I'm definitely not going to do is we're not going to be praising Tucker Carlson on this show.
$786 million.
Yeah, exactly. So, million or billion? It was the
786 million.
Yeah, exactly. But again,
well, no, but I can see that for sure, without a doubt, that the Dominion issue and the fact that they were suing Fox News Network absolutely played a role. But what I'm saying is that the main role, you're right, Tucker Carlson was messing with their money, and the way he was messing with their money again is the major advertisers and funders of the Republican Party and neocons in general, which are also inside the Democrat Party and on these news networks, is the defense industry, which are also, correlated with big pharma, big tech, as well as the prison industrial complex. You see what I'm saying? They're all tied into one, and this used to be something that Democrats were a full, complete understanding of. And to me, I feel like we're living in the matrix, because now you see it's Democrats who are really the what you would call the war hawks now, and those who are really promoting going into the various these regions supplying Ukraine. Minus, I would say the only exception would be dealing with the Israel situation, because now you have the Democrats that are kind of self-imploding, because there's arguments on both sides in their party of should we support Israel or should we, not support Israel? So that's causing some controversy.
And I would jump in to say that I think you're probably miscategorizing this dynamic, because when you're talking about lending aid to Ukraine, you can make whatever argument about whether you feel they should. That's good and fair, but I don't think that you can equate giving aid to someone that you believe is your ally as initiating or warmongering or anything. It's different thing. When you talk about Afghanistan, when you talk about these things were wars launched from America for particular reasons, for whatever and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. When you talk about the Israel and the Gaza situation, you can talk about the creation of Israel. You can talk about the issue about the Israel and Palestinians. But the whole conflict that's going on now is a direct response to the whole Gaza, the Hamas initiating of what happened there. Now, again, you can make an argument that, hey, they're just fighting Israel because Israel's an invading what was this colonizing, or you can make all those arguments. That's good and fair. But when you talk about the Ukraine situation, and again, I'm not justifying Ukraine. I'm not saying that we should be giving them a dime, but it's a big difference between helping an ally as opposed to launching a war. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I think that is a decent categorization of this administration.
With that, let's go to our sponsors. Call La Brea Trucking for all of your trucking needs. He travels across country with his dually and his trailer. He could pick it up, drop it off, and help you out. Just call him. That's the number. You got the number.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's right. My bad. I was lacking there. Get you some of that black honey. That's gobealive.org.
Yes, sir. All right, we got a new sponsor today. We're gonna play a little quick clip of it. Our new sponsors that y'all check it out. That's the Spin That Back show. Comes on at 10:30 every Saturday with your superstar host, Mr. L. Pooh, and your superstar host, Mr. Nice Guy, and then the other two regular guys, Mr. Walk and that other guy. I think his name is X-Man.
Brick Walls.
and Brick Walls. Also, Brick Walls, a true hip-hop historian from a person from the inside that got inside information as far as in Cali, particularly good representation. He always got some good information. Check the Spin That Back out at 10:30 a.m. every Saturday. After you finish getting a full dose of this show, we bringing you all this heat with all these special guests that's bringing this heat and speaking this politics. And you know, it hasn't happened yet, but I think I found the people that we need for the Black folks white politics show.
Hey, let me take this moment to say, hey, Charles X, man, you have been amazing, brother. I mean, a lot of the points you're making is we got to realize that there's two sides to every story. And, a lot of times the people that out here trying to make Trump to seem like he's the Grinch and all this other stuff, but even the Grinch has got some heart. And the fact of the matter is, when you talk about policies, there's a lot of policies that a rational, logical person could support that Trump is a person that's been a champion for. So it's very good to present both of those sides, to present the whole picture and not hold back. So I'm just telling you, I love your contributions to this. This In the News segment has been about as lively as it's ever been. So thank you for being you, brother. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, real quick,
well, brother. Thank you, and I definitely appreciate dialogue, and I think it's important, and I think we're an example of this to where how we could maybe disagree on a topic, but not be disagreeable. You're still my brother. At the end of the day, we all have way more in common than we have different. The last thing I would just leave off is that in regards to that Ukraine situation that we were talking about, I think it's an important fact for us to remember how we got there, and the way we got there it wasn't that Russia just went and invaded its neighbor. Russia never had any intentions of being and dealing with Ukraine at all. It wasn't until the war hawks here decided to deal with the corrupt Nazi leadership in Ukraine, because we can't lose sight of that, is that they're literally Nazis, and what happened was they wanted to go ahead and have NATO be accepted to NATO, which would put weapons right on the border of Ukraine.
We got you, brother Charles. We got to move forward with the show. We got to move forward with the show. So
yes, sir.
On politics, we're gonna jump over here on the entertainment side. I think we got one more in the news topic that we're gonna cover. Then we're gonna jump into we got two more. Oh God, it's too much to cover. Let's get where we at, First Lady? Where we at?
We're on Nicki Minaj. With the third number one on the Billboard 200, Nicki Minaj breaks out of a tie with Foxy Brown for the most leaders among female rap artists. Minaj is also the first female rapper with number one albums in 2 different decades, as she logged her first 2 leaders in the 2010s and her third came in the 2020s.
I want to say real quick. I want to say shout out to Nicki Minaj. And on here, we honor and respect our black women. This ain't a women hating channel. That we keep the first lady here. She represents the women perspective. We always looking for women to come. If you have a voice here, sisters. So we just want to acknowledge Nicki Minaj's accomplishment to the rap game. Yes, she is truly a talented artist. And I know we got a whole lot of ratchetness going on out there in the rap world. We had a show earlier. We had a show earlier this year. Are women running rap or are they ruining rap? We're gonna have to revisit that. We're gonna have to revisit that. But once again, shout out to Nicki Minaj. The Pink Print 2 is out. Support the sister. She already breaking records. I think she sold 250,000 in her first week, and that's a large leap. So shout out to that sister.
And her first single is Everybody, right? Yeah. So shout out to Nicki Minaj. That's always going to be an artist that I respect. I mean, she can do everything. She's a great success, and again, sexualization is not a crime, but there's limits to how you do it. And there's a difference between what Nicki Minaj is doing and what is Sexy Red is doing. But salute to that sister.
Yes. All right. So let's read the rest of the news, and we just gonna move forward to the main topic, to the meat.
So I'm gonna just tell you exactly what happened. So so we talk about the situation with Elijah McClain. This is a brother that was subdued by the police, and the paramedics injected him with ketamine, which is something that they do when they feel like a person is being too active and too much of a threat. And suffice it to say, they injected him with too much, and he died. And they actually found those two paramedics guilty. So that's going to be a game changer as far as your involvement with that type of stuff. Even the EMIs are being held liable, so you be on top of your business. And then that other situation is with the brother G Dep, standing for ghetto deputy, part of the bad boy situation. This was a brother who was a rapper doing his thing, Harlem rapper, and he turned himself in for something that he did 17 years earlier. It was on his conscience. This brother went and turned himself in for a murder that he had committed 17 years before. Suffice it to say, he got convicted. They gave him the minimum time because everybody's sympathetic to the fact that he was clearly remorseful. And just recently, he was granted clemency. So, Governor Hochul, Hochul, I don't know how to pronounce that, but suffice it to say, this brother, and even the prosecutor went to bat for him, saying, look, if there was ever a situation of remorse, this was the situation. So that's in the news. Let's pivot on to the topics. We're going to talk about brother Jonathan Majors.
This is it. Let me set the table on this one, brother. Let me set the table on this. I do like I normally do. I'm just scrolling through my Facebook page, going through, checking stuff out. Then I came across, I gotta catch my breath. I was chasing the dog real quick. And I came across our brother, Mr. Dante Burkism page. And, it was just after the verdict was read about Jonathan Majors, and the brother asked the question, Jonathan Majors, what's next? So I'm gonna give the floor to Mr. Dante Burkism so he can speak on it and let us know what's your take on this, brother.
I think it's a sad reminder to black folks, but specifically to black men that choose not just to date outside, but specifically to date white women, that there is a huge power dynamic difference between you and her. And you can't win that. She has more social status than you, regardless of how famous you are or how wealthy you are. Her tears and her fears are going to trigger a emotion within this country that you will never be able to trigger. And so you have to be careful, love who you love, date who you want to date. But as we can see, in this case, I've never seen anything where the victim was uh was the one that was chasing the aggressor. I've never seen that case. And even in that case where he's trying to get away from her and run away from her in Manhattan, 3 blocks. And then he went and got a hotel room on the other side of Manhattan to de-escalate the situation even further. And he's found guilty of, the lowest level of assault, but he was still found guilty, and it cost him several hundred millions of dollars in addition to his public reputation to some folks. So this is still America.
Yo,
To me, that's just what it was.
he said her tears and her fears. I could not scramble to the horn quick enough for that one. But yeah, that's absolutely the situation. First of all, not only running away from her, but again, she assaulted him in the car. That's what the driver said. And she went out partying. He basically tried to de-escalate the situation. It wasn't until he basically came home and saw her unconscious on the floor, and he was concerned that she tried to commit suicide. So he called the police. He called 911 for her. And then she woke up and said, yeah, he assaulted me, and he got arrested. So that's the key. Floyd X brought a great point. Shit, if he'd have never called 911, this probably whole situation would have never even played out. She wasn't the one that launched this prosecution, but she participated with it. And she had a choice to do that. And the fact of the matter is her attorney was duck walking after the fact, celebrating the conviction. And to me, this was an outrage. This is an insult. You're talking about this misdemeanor situation where you talk about the crime fitting the punishment. When you look at all the stuff that he lost, it's all I don't want to. I hate when black people, like rich athletes, talk about, when they have some problem with their rich jobs and it's equating it to slavery. To me, that's an insult to our ancestors. So I don't want to confuse you by saying when I bring up Emmett Till, this ain't an Emmett Till situation, but it's an Emmett Till situation. The fact of the matter is, this white girl claimed she did whatever, and he lost everything over a misdemeanor. She was the aggressor. She was the physical person. And she was the one that was out drunk and unconscious at home. I mean, it is an outrage. I'm sorry, Mr. Floyd X, what were you about to say?
I just want to say, in going through my Facebook and after seeing what Mr. Dante Burkism had to say, I invited him to the show to speak about it. He agreed to it, and then I put the post out there. And then to give you a better understanding of how this resonates and how it affects us as black men, once I put the post out there that we're going to be speaking on this, then that's when Brother Charles reached out on the Facebook and said he want to participate on this show because we want to get our voice out here and speak on it. And, this is a passionate and sensitive subject, particularly to black men. We all looked at this thing and we all saw the same thing. A black man trying to running from that white girl. When we know we was joking last week, we said, run, nigga, run. That nigga was running, trying to get away from her ass and still got convicted. That's some new shit right there. He still got convicted. It was an all-white jury, one black lady, one black woman was on the jury, and they convicted him, found him guilty. And I was watching news reports and they talking about how they try to just split the difference and go balance. And somebody was like, in 20 years, I've never seen an aggravated assault, which is a misdemeanor, go to trial in New York City. And I've never seen it. And then the one last thing I want to put out there is the penal law in New York City, 3525, which you could use the force to stop a larceny or theft. That's what he tried to do when he so-called fractured her finger, because that was the assault that he did. And I just wanted to put that out there that they chose not to adhere to that or give him that out. But let's go to Mr. Brother Charles X and hear his take, because I know he got a great point to make on it. What you got, Brother Charles X?
Yes, sir. I agree, with what's been said. Now, in regards to the broken finger, that's even a dispute because, that's alleged to have happened later, after she went to the club and whatnot, so I don't think he had any parts of even being a part of that, that injury, but in regard to the dynamic of him, dealing with a white girl, I'm not so naive enough to say that wasn't a factor. I believe it absolutely is and was a factor. But I'm also one who is always about accountability. And there's some things and mistakes that the brother made right from the gate. And the first mistake that he made was really being proactive into the type of woman that he selected, to be with him regardless of race. Because, we have plenty of examples of brothers being involved with, sisters that have caused them, some serious problems. I'll bring Jada Pinkett to the witness stand. You see what I'm saying? But, the main thing that I saw, inside this case is that, some of this absolutely could be avoided, because the one thing that we also know that we want to avoid, is just putting our hands, period, on a woman, grabbing her, touching her inside those type of situations or heated debates or whatnot, because automatically inside this system, it's more about.
I'm sorry. Go back to what you were saying, bro.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I thought, it was the pause signal. You know what I mean? But the main thing is that right now what we're seeing is this dynamic, which is feminism against men in general and trying to weaken the position of the man in our society. That is the main issue here, is not the race issue. It is that issue right there, because again, she did not charge him. Ultimately it was the New York prosecution that decided to go after this brother, and even after, like you said, they arrested her. You see what I'm saying? But I think the brothers, we had to be use a lot more discretion in terms of who we're intimate with. You know what I mean? And if these women that we get involved with, if they are, I use the term right center earlier, if they are left the center, you see what I'm saying, then you're already getting into some really muddy water because of just the political dynamic that exists. You know what I mean? Which is, not conservative in terms of traditional marriage, believe in marriage between the man and the woman, and that sort of position. You know what I mean? That's completely different from the left than it is the right. You see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying,
this woman for sure was a Hollywood type, and already, he was kind of rolling the dice, not only with the race, because obviously that power dynamic does exist, you know what I mean? But when you start dealing with more liberal women, you're already in trouble, bro.
Well, and also one thing I want to say on that point is you talk about choosing the woman, because he was also trying to shape her a little bit, because that quote came out where he was saying that I want you to be like Michelle Obama and
Scott King.
And I'll tell you,
white girl.
I first heard that, I thought that was outrageous. He almost lost me with that, because I thought this is the most blatant example how lost this brother is. Till I heard the full video.
Let me say, I don't care what he said. No.
Listen. Let me set the video. Whatever. In the video, he goes, "Look, I'm a great man doing great things," and he was talking about her. She was out drunk in public, and he goes, "Look, you can't be out there bringing problems to me with your actions out there." He says, "So I need you to be like Dr. Coretta Scott King." So he wasn't trying to I need you to be a strong black woman. He wasn't saying that. He was just saying that you need to not be someone that interferes with the things that I'm trying to do with my life. So once I got the full context,
yes, sir,
it wasn't as outrageous as it was. Because trust me,
that was outrageous.
Yeah, what I'm saying, it was
outrageous.
Hey, wait, Mr. Burkism, hold on. I want to hear Burkism, but what you guys say, Mr. El Poo?
Well.
I'm saying the same thing that Mr. Dante is saying. Exactly. Go ahead, Mr. Dante.
Wait. I want before Dante go. I want to say something. I want to talk about the manipulation. That was one of the key words they used, because y'all talking about him talking to her like that. You know that the court, I think it was the prosecution, interpreted that as he was manipulating her to be something she was not.
White privilege.
And that's why one of the jury, I believe the jury swayed towards that direction, because they kept throwing that word manipulation out there. He's manipulating her, trying to be like Coretta Scott King or the first
Michelle
lady
Obama. Michelle Obama.
So go ahead, Mr. Burkism.
I was just you on my Facebook page, my background photo says something about how important it is for a man's success is based upon the woman that he chooses. You are not going to convince this woman that's out clubbing that, hey, I'm an important person and you need to understand that you are a reflection of me. No, you as the man need to understand that woman is a reflection of you, and you can't convince stupid or crazy to understand your principle or your purpose. Your purpose has to be greater than all of that, and you had to understand from the get-go, she's not the one. That you can't that was crazy that he tried to even explain that to her.
Yeah, let me put it up what the brother got on his Facebook page. It says a man's success has a lot to do with the kind of woman he chooses to have in his life. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. You got to pick the right woman. And he chose the wrong one. When I look at even the picture, it's like, she ain't that pretty.
Ouch.
Number one.
I wasn't going to even go there. I wasn't going to even go there.
Instantly, immediately.
Oh, man,
come on, she ain't that pretty. And then she like the attitude, she going out getting drunk. She should have been disqualified. He was trying to make
accountability.
Dirt. Accountability. Don't make a diamond out of dirt.
You know, hey, I think Charles X is absolutely right. You got to pick the right one. I do believe that people can be coached up after a fashion, but you know what I really want to hear is what First Lady got to say about all this.
Let's go, First Lady.
Oh, this was all about you men, you know.
Let's go, First Lady.
You know, when I first heard of it, all I felt like was the jury was made up of Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Clarence Carter. For me, is, you know, people are going to date who they date, but I personally do have a problem, and you guys know that I've said this before. I feel like if more brothers stick with their sisters and the so-called attitude that you guys don't like, which A would you like, the attitude or being arrested? I think I would choose the attitude. So I want to say stick with your race.
As much as
you know what, First Lady?
I agree. I think if you had swapped that woman out for Megan Good, and Megan Good is chasing Jonathan Majors down 3 Manhattan blocks, Jonathan Majors is going to get acquitted, and that charge that was dropped against that white woman would have been pressed against Megan Good.
She was arrested. She was arrested for that.
Yeah.
But the girl was arrested.
But
those charges got dropped.
Yeah, they're not gonna get.
They got dropped, but yeah, immediately.
And I want to put the brother picture out there. That was the what's his name?
Alvin Bragg.
Yeah,
the same one going after Trump.
Yes. This brother, he the one that chose to run the charges and go against the brother where they said that in 20 years, I've never seen an aggravated assault brought to trial.
So he's actually, what you're saying, he was saying that this shouldn't have come forward.
No, he is the one that brought it forward.
But but who's the one that you said shouldn't have said that? Who said he's never seen one come to trial?
It was news reporters, what you call him? A news reporter on CNN said that. He said he's been following cases.
That charge is the lowest level assault that exists on the books.
Yeah,
that's something that you that they offer you a plea deal on. You go to anger management counseling for 40 hours, and you're done.
A 3rd-degree misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And he's looking Bragg should be excommunicated from blackness.
Yes, he's looking at a year in jail for the one charge and 15 days for the harassment charge. So he could look at up to a year and 15 days in jail behind this BS. And so one of the questions
they won't add him. They'd be running They would be running
concurrently.
Misdemeanor is still misdemeanor. You know.
One of the other questions that Mr. Burkism asked was justice served? I think we all agree that the answer is no. And then the next question was he railroaded? Can you elaborate on that, Mr. Burkism, when you asked that question?
Yeah, it goes back to the point of this is the lowest level assault charge that you have on the books. Why is this going to trial? why is the district attorney specifically wanting this one to go to trial? Why wasn't a plea deal offered to Jonathan Majors like it would have been offered to anyone else? That, hey, you go do this community service, and this is going to be expunged off of your record because it's that insignificant of a charge.
Do we know that it wasn't? Do we know that they weren't offered something? Because if I was him, I would.
Yeah, because it went to trial.
No.
Let me
say this.
Because they offer something, they don't mean that you don't take it. If I was him,
they wanted. If I'm not mistaken, they wanted to make a deal, and he
wanted
to clear his name.
He clear his name.
Yeah. So are you asking, was he railroaded by his own lawyers?
Oh no. But just the system that going the prosecution taking this to trial, and then the ultimate punishment was he lost his contract with Disney and the Marvel franchise, and the next 3 Marvel films were based around his character.
Damn.
The series was named after his character, the Kang series.
So, Mr. Burkism,
no doubt about that. If I could chime in, there's a few points I want to make. Is that in regards to Brother Dante's last point, is that Disney, though they won't admit it, have already decided to move on from him. Some of the animation that they use in these films take 3-4 years to even produce. And anyone who watched that second season of Loki could already see they left that wiggle room for him to be going and knocked out of the whole equation. So Disney, regardless of if he was acquitted or found guilty on any charges, was going to move on from him. That was already taken care of. And again, I'm going to go back to that accountability situation, because not only did Jonathan Major choose the woman he got involved with, he chose his defense team. His defense team was not what Johnny Depp had, had the sister Camille Vasquez. His defense team was not that at all. They made numerous mistakes, just from what I could tell, following the law. But there's also been commentary out there that exists, that would definitely back my claim and whatnot. But his defense team did not do an adequate job at all. And then the last point I would make is that, he did go before a jury of his so-called peers. There were 6 jurors who made a decision at the end of the day that just did not get convinced. They showed a mixed verdict because they showed they did not believe her, yet they still convicted him on some of these lesser charges or whatnot. You see what I'm saying?
So there was a jury of his peers. Why you say it was a jury of his peers?
Well, I mean, jury of his peers in terms of, being, fellow citizens, No, it wasn't all black folks, No, it's definitely not what O.J. Simpson had, back in that trial, I said O.J. was going to get found innocent, way back then, based on the fact he had a jury of his peers. You see what I'm saying? So, I
think that's kind of an insult to that jury. I think they found him innocent just because, the case,
lack of evidence.
They made it messy. The guy was planning stuff. So even if he did do it and all of this stuff, there was a reasonable doubt there. So I don't want to say that they.
Are you saying in regards to OJ?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, not to get off topic, but if he had a jury of all white people, we would have saw something completely different, because at that time the nation was divided. But I'm just saying, white people was all about him being guilty.
I'm saying that I'm saying he got a fair trial because it was black people, and you're right. If it was white people, he might not have got a fair trial. But what I don't want to insinuate is that black people were just going to side with him, because I've always said this: black people are not really. A lot of black people are still hesitant to just tell you that he is guilty. But when they saw him driving down that 405 in that white truck, then ain't no black people had no problem saying he was guilty. Yeah. But still, not to, like you said, I want to get sidetracked on that stuff. We talk about back to Jonathan Majors. I'm not going to say that Marvel already made up their mind. It's very quite possible about that. I mean, I felt like they've said that Loki 2 came out just how it was always meant to be, and when there's no doubt that there was wiggle room for them to go somewhere else. But I'm a person that follows the actual comic books. I mean, I still presently subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, so I actually do read current comics digitally and stuff like that. I don't do the physical stuff anymore. But I mean, I follow these characters, and it's just that just because you have this wiggle room, that's not a definitive evidence that you were going to move away. But on that note, there's something that Dante brought up. I have decided to protest after a fashion. They're not getting none of my money in the theaters. I mean, that's just how it is.
The brother Dante Burkism asks, do we boycott Disney and Marvel as black people or black men? I say black people in the whole. I say yes. What's y'all take on it?
Yeah, that is my take. I absolutely.
Nice guy.
The MCU is not getting my money. Period. That's just
my position. What was the MCU? What is the MCU?
That is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that's what he was taken away from. Is, you know, this has no bearing on the comic books or stuff. Like, I'm not going to necessarily just. I mean, I understand that Disney played a part in this, but Marvel. Hey, I've never forgiven them for not recasting the Black Panther. You telling me that this is one of the most powerful, greatest black superheroes, and you decide this person has the greatest technology on Earth, the greatest network of mystics, and this fool dies from a flu off camera because the actor died? This is ridiculous. They wouldn't kill Spider-Man or the Hulk or any of those characters, or Superman, because of an actor. You know, there's many people that have died that played Superman, and that never slowed them down to going forward with Superman. So again,
you saying he may go to jail and he was kicked from the universe.
He's not going to go to jail. He's not going to jail. He got kicked, but he's not going to jail. I'm just telling you, right, he's not going to jail. But you're absolutely right. It's an outrage.
That's messed up, man.
Well, I sincerely hope that we as black people, as conscious black people, do pay attention to things like that, because Disney is already in trouble for what they said, what Bob Iger said, and how Elon Musk responded at a conference a few weeks ago. So there's already been a massive amount of people who have canceled their Disney subscriptions, and I think that this gives further fuel to that fire, and that black folks should seriously consider, if you are supporting Disney and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that you may want to rethink with your dollars where they go invested, because if you continue to support it, then what you're saying is what they did to Jonathan Majors is okay. You're okay with it. I'm personally not.
Hey, thank you for sharing that, brother. That was powerful.
I'm a person. Yes, sir. I would just add that there's a number of reasons.
Hold on. Let El Poo go real quick.
I'm sorry about that, brother Poo.
Okay. My bad, bro. I'm just personally boycott white women. That's it.
That brother said he gonna boycott white women. Okay,
go ahead. What are you about to say, brother Charles X?
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I agree that it's definitely a valid point on a boycotting, Disney, not Marvel, the whole brand, if you will. There's even reasons outside of the ones we talked about for us to participate in the boycott. The only thing about the us boycotting is that as a people, and as a community, we're not organized enough to really make an impact, and what you saw white folks, the conservative community, did to Bud Light. You know what I mean? We're not organized like that. You know what I mean? If we were,
that's a whole nother, that's an entire show. That's an entire series of shows right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I think it starts with the conversation. I think
absolutely.
It starts there. You put it out there. Hey, man, boycott. Look at Jonathan Majors, man. Everybody, all of us as black folks know that he was a great actor. We was looking forward to the stuff he was about to do. Man. And then when we saw this, we like, that shouldn't derail nothing. But them white folks, they decided, oh, yeah, we're going to cut off this $100 million over there, cut off that $100 million over there, and he going to be on, like, I think the comedian Corey Holcomb said he going to be on a YouTube show. We might be able to get him on this show after this.
Yeah.
He'll need to work, that's for sure. He's available.
It's too bad.
Well, hopefully DC gets him and makes him the Green Lantern. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
It's too bad his name is not Robert Downey Jr. because he wouldn't have had all these problems.
Robert Downey Jr., Charlie Sheen, any of them dudes that have operated clearly outside of the law and have been drug addicts. for decades. They seem to always be able to rebound and recover, but we get the book thrown at us over the slightest, most insignificant issue.
Man.
That's true, but we used to be taught that we had to do things 2-3 times better than the white man. You see what I'm saying? But you don't really hear that teaching anymore. You see, but maybe we should be going back to that and holding ourselves up to a higher standard in how we move.
Real talk. Real talk. So yeah, so that's that. Where we at, Mr. Nice Guy?
I mean, we really kind of covered everything. I don't know if well, I guess First Lady, you addressed. Well, I guess the protest thing. You got anything comment that you feel about that?
The only thing I have to say, if we don't stand for something, then we're just gonna fall for anything. We need to come out like the LGBTQ community, and if we can come out like they come out, then maybe we can make some type of change.
LGBTQ community is the biggest, the hardest gang in America today. They got to back down. The man who was so-called appointed by God. They got him to back down and say, you could bless gay weddings now. Come on. Shout out to the LGBT community, the top gangsters in the United States. They only represent 0.5% of the country, but they run 30 or 90, let's say 90% of the country. Shout out to the LGBT community. Keep doing what y'all doing. I'm not gonna do it, but y'all keep doing what y'all gonna do it.
Y'all play the right or the wrong letters.
There's a little tongue in cheek there, but it's the fact. It's the reality. You can't deny that they come together and they move together in a way that we absolutely should. There's no discussion. There's no dispute about that.
So and if I could add, what I think would be the most relevant and impactful act that could be done in terms of organization and organizing is if you look at just the status of men in this country right now, and anytime an allegation even occurs from a woman, then you're talking about, you're thrown in jail without any questions asked, arrested, you'll lose positions, before even having a trial. There's a lack of power that men are having inside this country. And men, I believe men need to organize and mobilize, form a voters block, have legal counsel, and start, really pushing the political agendas, like, some of those other groups you just mentioned, like the LGBTQ, politically. That's where, they really start making moves and start making gains inside of their causes and some of the challenges that they saw that they had. But I believe that men need to be better organized because manhood is under attack. You know what I mean? And not only are we having a lack of testosterone, available to us, and even chemicals being placed in our food to strip us of that. But every time we look around, we're losing power inside of this a nation in particular, but the world in general. So I think really need to start standing up, become stronger, become wiser, become more accountable, and then as we start to, a bill like that, I think we'll see a whole change with a lot of different scenarios inside of the country. This is my personal opinion.
Brother Charles, thank you for your final words. We greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate you coming on the show. Mr. Dante Burkism, do you have any parting words you'd like to share with our audience? You're on mute right now, brother.
I don't know if he hears us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Burkism, for coming to the show. Thank you, Mr. Charles Simeon, for coming on the show. Y'all was greatly appreciated. Appreciate y'all coming on the show, bringing your energy, bringing your insight, and we look forward to you. I know Dante is a regular contributor, and we know that my vision is to have Brother Charles X as a regular. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You froze, right. But your audio
I think the First Lady has something to say too, brother. Just she had her finger raised there.
I see. Look at him. He already trying to take over the show. And,
that's what's up.
It's all good. Go ahead, First Lady.
I did have something to say before we.
Jesus, take the wheel.
The Christmas in your home.
Okay, so go ahead.
Can I end the show without mentioning that? So go ahead, Mr. Nice Guy. Tell us about Christmas in your home.
Okay, so let me flip it over to me myself. So we're not gonna probably do much of anything for Christmas. We don't do trees because of the whole, that quote that Brother Floyd X loves to put out there. But we will fix something. So I'm probably gonna grill some turkey thighs, and my wife is gonna do some good cooking, and that's pretty much gonna be it. It'd be nice to see some family, but I don't know if that's gonna play out. But my father's in the hospital right now. He's supposed to be coming home today, so we'll see how that plays out. But that's all that we got going on for Christmas. What's going on? What's Christmas like gonna be for you, El Poo? What's going on? Oh, see, I thought he ended it, but nah, go ahead.
No. I'm back in the show.
I like that was a gangster ending. What's going on for you this Christmas?
Christmas ain't gonna be that exciting this year. Ain't gonna be no ho-ho-hos running around. Ain't gonna be no little fat men dressed with no red costumes, nothing like that. It's just gonna be me, my girl. I'm gonna be drunk, and I'm watching the 49ers.
Oh, what you got to say about that, Charles X, with your Raiders hat? He watching the 49ers, brother.
Yes. Well, nowadays, I too watch the 49ers. They're doing very well. In regards to Christmas, I personally haven't celebrated Christmas in over 20 plus years. In fact, I go that extra mile and I fast both Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I don't eat to the next day. So any type of festivities we do is generally centered around just bringing in the new year, just in general. And we always do have some good food around here and all that type of good stuff. But, I'm not into really the many of the holidays, honestly.
Good stuff.
As far as me with Christmas, I haven't celebrated Christmas in my house since I've turned an adult. And I never had a Christmas tree in my house. I'm thankful to my supportive wife who reads her Bible and understand that you should not be like those who go out into the forest and chop down trees and adorn it with gold and silver. So I'm thankful for my wife, but I do expect a gift every Christmas from somebody. But it's all good though. If you said the way you celebrate Christmas is the way you celebrate Christmas, I know for a lot of us, it's just a good time to get with your family, and I will be with my family and friends, enjoying myself, eating some good food. I will do that.
Hey, you know what, Floyd X? You deserve this. And let's ask Dante Burks. Hey, Brother Burks. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw his face, so I thought he was gonna be able to get something.
He wants to say one more thing.
Oh.